basically take yourself out of society. And I'm not saying to comply to stay in society, because I'm not going to comply. But what I'm saying is, it's not just as simple as do not complying. We have to push back and do all that stuff. So push back on all that kind of level. But this isn't just simple as do not comply. And that goes again to why we have to remove the parasites that are running the structure and control of the system, because that's really the only way out of this. To remove them parasites and take control of the central bank that's going to be implementing these stable coins and digital currency in the CBDCs and all of that kind of stuff. That's why we have to go and do what I'm talking about doing. And it may seem extreme to some people, but these are the reasons behind that. These are the key reasons behind that. We cannot allow them to implement this digital friggin' dystopia. We can't allow that to happen. And if we don't get organized and path and a plan to replace the parasites and take back control and then restructure the system to benefit us, to work for us, to get clear of all this worldwide bullshit, 1% control structure, globalist, even though I don't like the term globe, but if we don't get engaged in building something out to break free from that structure, then everything else is moot. Now, with that being said, the digital identification protocol, the digital currency protocol, all of that kind of stuff, people have to recognize that stuff is coming from the federal level. The federal level, okay? So, this is important again, and that's why I level. That's why I'm almost transfixed on making sure we have a strategy and a plan and an ideology to move forward to remove the parasites that are allowing this implementation to take place. That's going to take away all of our freedom, all of our sovereignty, all of that kind of shit. So that's why I work on the federal level, and that's important because the people that are working at municipal levels, the people that are building communities, the people that are working at provincial levels, you have got to recognize that this is on the federal. And I'm not to stop doing what you're doing. I'm not telling you to not continue to work at them levels. I'm not telling you to stop engaging there. I'm not telling you to stop educate. I'm telling you to continue doing that. Continue doing that. Continue working on them levels. Continue trying to educate more people about the corruption and the fraud that's taking place at all of them levels. But that being said, if you're not supporting something on a national level such as this to remove the parasites, to stop this from happening, then what you're doing down there alone is not going to stop the end game, because all of these provinces and municipalities, they're all going to fall through. The central bank is the Central Bank of Canada. So that's what's running the show here. So that's what I'm trying to say. You can't just work on that level. You can't just work on that level. You have to do both. You have to focus on also the federal level, because that's where all these major narratives come from, the federal level. I'm not saying not to do anything down there, because everybody that's educating people, everybody that's opening people's eyes is doing something and taking a step forward. But you can continue to do that, and you can also continue to push forward with this, and help us work it towards dealing with these federal level. The people have to know how heavy this is, how serious this is, how what's going on is taking place, and we don't have a whole lot of choices in this matter. We have to go to that level. Yeah, standing up. Okay, standing up. So I'm not averse to everybody coming together and standing up and remove parasites and arresting these parasites. But what does that look like? That's the thing. It's structured. It's got to be organized. It's got to be implemented properly, and it can't be just a chaotic bunch of craziness. And so what else is taking place around the world? This is one of the other things that I wanted to talk about. What else is taking place around the world? Bulgaria. Again, this is where discernment comes in, and people need to look a little bit at the headlines and look below the headlines. So, Bulgaria, just like in Nepal, Bulgaria stood up and they protested, and they got their government to resign, or so the headline would say. However, that's not the truth. That is not the truth. Now, before I get into explanation of what's actually taking place in Bulgaria and following up on what's actually taking place in Nepal, and even in Greece, I need people, you really have got to have discernment. Remember, the same people that are implementing these narratives around the world to take control in this dystopia and create this Orwellian future are the exact same people that are involved in controlling the media and what information gets put out in the media. So they control what we see and hear. This is important. So the headline, see the headline? Look deeper than the headline. This is what I'm saying. Look deeper than the headline. So in Bulgaria, they toppled their government. They forced the government resign. They stood up en masse. That's what everybody sees, because that's what everybody believes that we have to do. We have to stand up en masse and remove the government. However, what happened in Bulgaria? They have a president and a prime minister. The president in Bulgaria is basically similar to the position of the governor general here in this landmass they call Canada. Fraudulent position, but whatever. They operate in the same sort of manner. So what happened in Bulgaria? Bulgaria never had a majority government. Bulgaria had at best, they had a barely working minority government with all of the seats and so on and so forth. However, they did create resignation of the government. But what that means is they didn't resign and just leave the building empty and the people took over. That's not what happened. What people see in the headline, and that's what they want to believe, but that's not what happened. The same people that were elected to take part in this governing structure are still in power. They're still in place. What's happened is that government, that cabinet, and the prime minister stepped out of their roles as government. And now that means that the president is going to go to the next largest party and see if they offer them the opportunity to form a government. So they never did anything, but maybe change some actors. That's all. And if the next party can't form a government or doesn't choose to form a government because their numbers are less, again, it would be even worse minority government, then they'll probably have elections in 2026. But part of the other issue within the confines of that whole structure is virtually every party that has seats or has standing in that parliament, they're still there, changing the actors. Virtually all of them have ties, deep ties to the IDU, International Democratic Union, to WEF, World Forum. They are all fucking basically promoting and pushing for and working on implementing digital identification structures, digital currency infrastructure. All of them are doing that. And they need to do that because they want to join part of the EU, but they want to join this area called the Schengen area because they believe that that's going to help them on a financial level. But they're going to have to, they're working on all of the EU initiatives for the digital identification, the digital currency and everything. So the uprising did not return the power back to the people, but they put that in the media because that's what they want us to do. That's what they want us to see. So if you're going to do that and you can remove these criminals and these parasites, like arrest them and remove them, and then the people with a plan can step in and take over and start restructuring the system, then fine. But if you're just going to go out there and protest, that would be the same thing here. If everybody went out in the streets and protested, and you got the liberals to step down, and then the conservatives could form a party, nothing changes. That's pretty much what they've done in Bulgaria. So it looks great on the surface in the headline, but it's not what it's portrayed as. And you can go look this stuff up. I'm not telling you this to sway you from standing up, because I was one of the ones with a group of people and my friends trying to get us to do that 2 years ago, and it didn't happen. So that's what happened in Bulgaria. That's what took place over there. They're still moving forward with the whole agenda. And that protest when they resigned was one day. They resigned finally one day before the existing government, the GERB party or whatever it was supposed to face a no confidence vote. So it didn't change anything. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It left the same people in place. It didn't change anything. And a lot of the people are wanting them to join the EU and all of that kind of stuff. Okay? So that didn't change anything. It was just a headline to masses. In Nepal, the same thing. They still have to go to elections. They have a temporary government. It's being run by the lady that was put in there temporarily. She's a Supreme Court judge. And Nepal is still investing. They've got 29 million or whatever dollars from a bank, an international banking group, and they're doing investments in the digital ID and the digital currency as well. So Nepal didn't upset the apple cart like everybody believes. In Greece, what's happening in Greece is farmers are standing up, and the reason that they're standing up is because there was a big corruption scandal that took place with this OPECI fund, and basically that was subsidies for the farmers that was coming from the EU, because they're having a lot of difficulty over there with farms. They're having a lot of difficulty over there with extreme weather scenarios, with the cost of everything, just like we're having in every landmass. But the reason that they're up in arms in Greece right now, the farmers or whatever, is because they weren't getting money. They weren't getting their subsidies that were promised to them from the EU. So they're not upsetting the apple cart. And they're not negotiating at this point because they want firm answers. But their firm answers are going to be basically, as it stands right now, their firm answers is basically going to be getting their subsidies from the government that they were promised, and making sure that strategies are implemented to make sure that this stuff doesn't happen again. So that's not upsetting the apple cart. So what I'm trying to say is there is nobody around in the world at this point that is doing anything, not that they're not doing things behind the scenes, but that is actually creating something that is actually dismantling their system in their landmass. That's not what's going on. These are misappropriated headlines to get the people uprising, because that's what they want. That's on their board. So I'm not against that, but it has to be done in a manner of removing the parasites. You don't negotiate with them. They won't negotiate with you. First of all, once you rise up en masse in a massive protest like that, and you think that the governments are going to, yeah, there was a lot going on over there. That's exactly right. And that's what the farmers are getting mad about. There was a lot of fraud going on with that money and the subsidies. And people were getting money for nothing. And the real farmers got pissed off taking place there. But anyway, if people think that you can protest and stand up to a government and have the government come out and negotiate with you to give you rights that you deserve, I'm not saying you don't deserve them, but to give you rights that you deserve, that will never happen. Governments will not negotiate with the people. Once the government negotiates with the people, they've given up their authority. They've given up their falsehood of authority. They've given up the whole entire thing, because they've now shown the public, they've now shown the people that the people actually have the power. And in order for them to maintain their illegitimate power in their structure, they cannot allow the people to believe that they have the power. So unless you're going to rise up and remove the parasites, literally, as we were talking before, to arrest them because they are criminals on a mountain of levels, unless that's what's going to take place and it's organized that way, then it's not going to work for that purpose. The same thing, when you want to organize protests, I don't even care. I'm not even arguing about it. Go protest or whatever. But if you think only protesting is going to change the structure of the world, it's not going to change the structure of the world. And all I'm trying to do is prevent violence. If we get there, we get there. If they force it upon us, they force it upon us. That's fact. That is what it is. And that's why I've taken this path. I've taken this path because this is the only plausible, peaceful, last opportunity at a peaceful solution. And I know a lot of people don't think it'll work, and that's fine too. You can carry on doing what you're doing. I'm going to continue to try to build this, because there's other avenues that play into building this out. More people are going to be educated, and they're going to learn the actual information. More people are going to be educated on the fraud of the system. More people are going to learn the depth of the fraud of the system by looking at this as a reasonable solution. And it may not be the end game. We may have another fork in the road at some point, and we may have to adjust our sails on the fly, and that's fine too. But to do any of these things that we try to do, we need numbers. We need people. And until people are educated and at least have some semblance of an idea of the depth of the fraud, we're never going to rise number. We're going to get numbers to do that. And remember, in Greece, in Nepal, in Bulgaria, in England, in Ireland, in all of them places, all of them land masses equate to about the size of one of the provinces in Canada. For them people to get millions, if that's what actually it is, because you can't believe the total media, but if they're able to get millions to stand up, that's one of the reasons why. Because it's so close. They're so close together. The people are so close together. For us to do that here, we're a massive, massive, massive landmass. And to bring people together on that level here is going to take an extreme amount of work. And very difficult grassroots to do that kind of stuff. Any of these big movements don't end up being grassroots. If you look behind them, then you'll see that it's usually them guys putting out what they want you to see. That's usually the strategy. If you're looking for a hero, they're going to give you a hero. That's usually what happens. That's usually what takes place. That's the scenario. So that's the case of that scenario. You have to be willing to remove the people operating in the structure. That's it. So that's what this is about. Even though this is a political path, I look at that as they've left the back door loophole for us to utilize. They left a loophole in the back door for us to utilize. That's all this is. So it's more like a movement, and the people can get behind this. And if the people really want change, then they have to engage. And that means they have to engage in their own life. They have to put work into their own life. They have to engage in their community. They have to talk to people. They have to spread awareness. They have to spread information. They have to build their community. And if we build it on that level, then that's the most solid foundation, and it won't be able to be broken. If we're not going to build it from the top down, we build it from the bottom up, and that's where the basis of it will be. That's where the structure of it will be. That's how it'll be solid. That's how it can't be broken. I don't know what the timeline is tomorrow. I don't know what's going to happen down the road, but I know we have to build something. And by saying something isn't going to work and not engaging, then you're not leaving yourself with any other options. The only option yourself with is violence. And if we get there, like I said, I'm not bowing down to nobody. If they force that upon us, and so be it. I'll be there. I'm standing on my feet. That's it. That's all I know. But I'm trying to avoid that at all. In Nepal, 76 people died. 100 people were injured. Somebody says that they're willing to die for the country, but how many of them are really do they really recognize what that means? That really is what people say, but do you really recognize what that means? And dying for your family. Well, that may sound honorable. You're not no good to your family that either. You're not no good to them no more. You can't help them in the future. You can't help protect them anymore. You can't do any of that kind of stuff. So there's all kinds of stuff. I'm just saying this is about building something that gives us a real opportunity, and it's gonna grow the numbers. The people are gonna start to recognize what the governments do now is a benefit. I'm not in a panic. The governments, everything that they do today is forcing more people to see, because it's affecting everybody. This isn't a separation of conspiracy theorists, even though none of us really were. We were truth tellers, conspiracy truthers, or whatever. But this isn't a separation of conspiracy theories of other people. The stuff that they're doing now is affecting everybody. For the police, for the military, for you guys out there, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit too, the police in particular, and the RCMP. But for you guys, this is your life too. They're completely taking over your life with this digital structure. And if you think that you're protected, you're not protected, because they're going to have control over every aspect of your life. Do you realize that in this digital infrastructure, everything is going to be on that unified ledger? Larry Fink's already talked about it. It's going to be land, it's going to be water, it's going to be air, it's going to be people, it's all of it. Everything, every asset, every debt, everything is going to be, they're basically going to digitize the entire world. It's all going to be on that grid, on that unified ledger. And they're going to have control of every aspect of it, all levels. So you, as the policy enforcers that are protecting the criminals, and the military individuals that are protecting the criminals, and you think that you're doing the right thing, you're actually helping them implement your own slavery. Implement slavery. Introduction to MAID for veterans. RCMP veterans were being introduced to MAID at this thing. And it was the most egregious thing. Everybody was up in arms, and everybody's sharing it, and everybody's up in arms, and everybody's sharing it and everything. So, Again, no discernment. I'd like to bridge the gap. I would like to speak to these CMP officers and these military officers that actually get it, or retirees, and I have spoke to some veterans that actually get it, so we can come together on the same page. Because what this is about is trying to take back our lives in this landmass they call Canada and create a structure that works for us, not this fabricated, fraudulent structure that exists now to enslave us. Anyway, I find it a bit egregious that these people would be out there complaining, and basically they're asking the public, which is us, to support them in this endeavor of where they were being thrown under the bus with this MAID program being offered to them. Now, that sounds a little callous and cold, but I want to mention, where was the RCMP and these people, these same individuals, these veterans and these RCMP, where was the uproar from those individuals that are now asking for our help? Where was the uproar when they were starting to talk about mature minors being able to go get the MAID program, 12 years old, without parental consent and all that? Where was the uproar there? I didn't see any from these RCMP veterans. Okay, so I want to say this to you to be shocking, because we told you, remember, so many of us did these protests and went around this country and stood up in different places and had to be confronted by these bootlicking police officers trying to bust us down or whatever. The ones that would actually engage in some conversation, we were telling them the whole time, you are just a puppet. They don't care about you. You're protecting the slave master. When they're done with you, they'll throw you under the bus. They'll get rid of you. You're useless to them. You think that you need something, but you don't. They are using you against your own people. And they didn't want to hear that. They didn't want to hear that. They weren't interested in hearing that. And now here we are. Proof is in the pudding that they were being used against us. And now they're being thrown under the bus because they don't matter to the people that are running the shit show. And they come back to the people for support. Maybe you should start supporting the people, because I've said many times, the sooner military and police start supporting the people, the sooner this shit show's over. The sooner this shit show's over. And then we can remove all these criminals. And I'm more than willing to share all the information, answer all the questions, to show you the proof of all the friggin' crimes that they're guilty. Genocide being the most egregious crime committed on humanity, because it took place worldwide, and it's still engaging worldwide. It's still taking place now. They're still pushing out these shots. And then, as everybody knows, you got the big black box warning now coming out from the FDA. 4 or 5 years we were all taking it on the chin from all the people around us, telling us we were crazy, conspiracy theorists, oh, you don't trust the science, blah, 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 all this bullshit. And now they basically admit that this stuff is going on. They don't take it off the market. They just put a big black box warning on it. But when they were administering all on the internal papers, so you could tell people. So there was no informed consent being given whatsoever. Just safe and effective. And safe and effective has led to what is safe and effective led to? Death and ineffectiveness. 100% death and suffering. That's what safe and effective has got us. Death and suffering. So that's about that. Yeah, the police. So I still want to bridge that gap. So hopefully that thing was an eye opener to you guys. That's how much they care about you guys. And I know, don't get me wrong, I know that there's these RoboCop motherfuckers, you know, all-powerful narcissists that put the badge on and think they're Superman or so on and so forth. They just want to bust heads in every angle, like whatever the whole point. But I also know that there's people that are not that much different than you and I, just trying to provide for a family, and they got involved for, you know, they thought they were going to be going against criminals, and they found out they're actually protecting criminals. Anyway, the governments are going at this at such an aggressive level that the end game is that they're pushing away their own protective structure, because everything that they're doing now is coming after everybody, and it's going to affect everybody, and none of you are safe from it. Yeah, I don't know how many of you military and police officers have lost loved ones from this shot, or how many of you are suffering from this shot, or have family members and friends that are suffering from this shot. But looking at this MAID thing should be another slap for you to wake up and see what side of this coin you want to be on. So yeah, that's for real. You guys have got to start seeing what's happening, and the sooner you do, the sooner we end this, the sooner we get this fixed. So that's it. That's all. We'll see how it plays out. So I pretty much covered all that stuff. So one little bit of a blurb. I'm not here to argue with people about whether they think what I'm trying to do will work or not work. I'm going to continue the path that I'm on. Most people aren't doing anything significant moving forward. They just want to complain. I'm going to build this out. I don't know where it takes us. There's going to be adjustments. We're going to meet crossroads. We're going to have to make decisions as we move forward. But I'm going to keep building out this party, the NCRP scenario. Everything that I'm talking about in there is real. Everything is legit. Everything is what we're actually going to accomplish and what we're going to do. And I'm just not going to be in 3 years' time having a position that we don't have any chance to do anything. I'm not going to leave us with only one option of going to war. That's the purpose of doing this. So I'm going to build this out, and we'll see how it plays out. This is a glitch in the matrix. I'm telling you, when they're looking at their board, their play board, and they see everything that's going on, and they see what they're doing, they know what they're doing, they're trying to prepare for all of the different possibilities and scenarios they're going to run into. Remember, they planned this forever. They see protests, they see massive uprisings, they see revolutions, they see civil war, they see all of that stuff take place, and they're prepared for all of that stuff. But this is what they don't see. They don't see the people actually engaging in something that's giving them the ability to take their power back, and not only giving them the ability to take their power back, but giving them the ability to engage in their communities and build out their communities, giving them also the ability to build something that's real and educate each other with the actual factual information of the fraud of this whole entire system on a level, a professional level, not a conspiracy nut level, all of that stuff. And the more people that get it in their head, the more people that understand, the more stronger we get, the more powerful we. And no matter what, somebody has got to be willing to step into place and fix the structure. Somebody has got to understand what we got to do to fix the structure. And without putting something like this together, you think that civil war is going to alone fix everything? It won't, because then who's going to take charge after that? Even if you're successful, even if it's a successful civil war, don't take it the wrong way. Don't take this like I'm talking people out of stuff. I'm trying to explain on a deeper level. Even if we go to civil war, and we are victorious, let's say, then what happens at that point? If you don't have something built to step away and start to fix the existing structure, then it's all going to be chaos, and that's not going to benefit nobody. And oftentimes, if you look throughout history, that's always been worse for the people. And what I'm trying to do is to beg for the people. So that's what this is all about. That's what the NCRP is all about. One thing to clarify with respect to the NCRP, the Telegram group. Okay, so when people join the party, by joining the party, that means you subscribe, you went through the membership process, you paid the $20, you joined the party. Once that happens, once that takes place, then you will get an email. Whatever email that you've used to sign to the party, to join the party, during that process, you've gotten an email. Everybody that joined and paid their $20 would have gotten an email. And check the email that you signed up with. In the confines of the email that you signed up with, there will be a link for the Telegram group. An invite link for the Telegram group. That's members only. That's what that is for. So, if you're a member, you would have gotten a link for that. If you haven't gotten a link for that, and you can get in contact with me or go through the email in the party and show me a receipt or whatever from when you signed up, there's obviously been some sort of miscommunication. The only people that are dealing with that is me and Jane, thankfully. I'm so appreciative of her help for sure, because I'm always doing what I'm doing and she's actually able to help. So if you didn't get if you did party, go through the email, send us a link that show us that you joined the party, and then we'll get you the link for we'll resend you, get you the link. I don't know what happened, because people are complaining that they didn't get the link, and I'm trying to explain that's what happened. Whatever link you joined up with, whatever email you used to join up with, go back and check your email. So I'm just going to make an assumption that people maybe just didn't check their email afterwards and just joined up. So that's what I'm going to say. That's what I mean. So that's that. Otherwise, the party platform, the whole thing is there, and it's very user friendly. There's 2 different brochures up there now. And again, Jane helped out with the second one, making a trifold one, whatever. So there's 2 different brochures. There's a simple, small, colorful trifold brochure, and then the other one you can print them off, pass them out, and that's very easy. You don't even have to talk to people, guys. Just show them. If they're looking, I think you do need a phone to register to Telegram, but I can't be sure of that, Robbie. Anyway, people are anybody. I was talking to Steph's dad about this the other day, and I told him, I understand a lot of people aren't like myself. A lot of people don't like to speak to people. A lot of people don't like people giving them a hard time when they speak to them or argue them or whatever. Yeah, and check your spam folder in your email just in case, as Jane was saying. Anyway, I get all that. So what I was trying to tell him, to make it as easy and simple for people, is just carry some brochures on you, or in your truck, or in your car, or whatever, or in your purse, whatever it is. And anytime that you have a conversation with someone that's complaining about what's going on, just give them one. You don't have to convince them that this is the answer or any of that kind of stuff. Just give them one. Just give them a brochure. They'll figure out where they need to go. Some of this stuff is going to shock them. I'm sure it is. It's there for shock value. It's there to shake people. And I'm more than willing to answer the question and concerns with all of the stuff in the platform. But just give them one. You don't know where that's going to go. You don't know when you plant a seed, you don't know what's going to happen with that seed. If they're interested in talking more, then by all means, if you're comfortable, do so. But if you're not comfortable and they're not necessarily interested, just pass it along. That's why so it's very user-friendly. So you don't have to wait and order a bunch of fancy, brochures and all that stuff like that. You can just print it. It doesn't have to be fancy. It does not have to be fancy to work. It doesn't have to be that way. So just pass it out. The people need to know that there's an option out there. And the vast majority of people that are just starting to see what's going on, when they start recognizing there's big problems in this world, they need somewhere to look for. Yeah, I know if they're shocked, they're not paying attention, I know, and all that, but there's so many people that aren't paying attention. And there's so many people that are still believing in the structure here. There's so many people that believe that conservatives are the answer, or PPC, or whatever the case may be. All these things that are working within the confines of the existing structure. None of that's an answer. The structure is the issue. And the puppets inside of that is not going to change it. If the structure is not changed, we're in big trouble. And the bank is a huge part of that, man. Reclaiming the bank from the central bankers to separate from this digital world that they're trying to create. This has to be done. And for those people out there that think, you still got to trade with the world and all this, we're going to have to be part of this digital structure. If that's your mindset, then you're basically walking yourself into slavery. That's the fact. That's what their goal is. This is not about you and I. This is not about ease of system. This is not about convenience. This is not about any of this bullshit that they pitch. This is not about, quick payments and all the shit that they're trying to tell you. This is about building a slavery structure that will control every aspect of your life to a degree far worse than it is now. Far worse. And we can't let it get there. But remember, they always put this stuff out there. It's all very threatening. It's all very scary and all that kind of stuff. But it's not all ready to go. It's being built. It's being implemented. In digital ID, the stable coin they're just starting to talk about in Canada. The stable coin in the US is being done. Even got the crypto guys all fucked up because, not everybody, some of the crypto guys see it, but people are all excited about Ripple becoming its own bank, this exchange type of thing. And I'm not a crypto guy, but once that happens, then that bank, that Ripple bank, now that's all tied to the regulatory banking system. And the protection that you were supposed to have from crypto from side of that system will be gone by utilizing that thing. And all of your crypto is going to be on the blockchain. And who's in control of that whole unified ledger blockchain? Because crypto will be an asset. It's all going to be on that. Who's controlling that? You're not going to have this ability, as crypto was presented, this separate, economic world. It's not going to be that way. They're not allowing it. They're taking over all of that shit. They're taking it all over. And they planned it. They know what they're doing. There is no escape with crypto. And remember, they're controlling the grid. They control it all. They're putting it all on that unified ledger. That's facts, man. So anyway, that was just a bit of an update tonight. Hopefully this week I get a few more things accomplished and I can get a little bit more leveled out and a little bit more foundationally solid. That's what my goal is now, to get myself on a more solid foundation so I can deliver better to you guys and actually serve you guys better with information and education and keep the ball moving forward and what have you. By all means, keep talking to everybody, talk to about everything, keep getting the numbers involved, keep waking people up, keep telling people as many, because more people are starting to see today than they've ever been before, because this is starting to affect everybody. Have the conversation, share the information, and so on and so forth. And remember, at the end of the day, I'm not saying this is the only path that we're taking that's going to get us there, because, you know, tomorrow's a different day. 6 months down the road, there'll be another turn in the road or whatever. But right now, this is what I'm building out, and this will be built out. Nothing will stop this from being built out except the people. That's it. And the people are looking for something, and this is the most real thing out there. This is going to actually deal with the structural issues. That's for a fact, and that's where we're going. And even if we have to take another route to remove the parasites, we'll still have to know and comprehend that there's people out there that know how to fix things. We need something built so we can step into place, because we can't have just a void of nothing and then that chaos, a power void of nothing. Which, if you studied anything about historical situations with revolutions and civil wars and all that stuff, you cannot have a power void. You can't have a power void, because that will only go to the strongest people, and the strongest people are the ones that they don't necessarily care about the average Joe on the street. So this is trying to bring everybody together under one umbrella. Reggie said this a lot. You know, if we all come together under one cause, then we can change the world a lot faster than people realize. So that's what this is all about, bringing people underneath an umbrella of one actual cause that actually is going to address the foundational structural issues. Anything less than that is not going to save us, and we're getting at an end game here. So we still got time. I'm not panicking, and I'm actually getting excited because I'm starting to get a little more stable. I'm starting to get strong. I'm connecting with some good people, some solid people around this country. This is growing. This will continue to grow. And I'm doing my best to help everybody with all of the stupid little technical issues. I'm going to work on something to some people that don't want to go online with their credit card and sign up that way or whatever on the website. I'll try to work out something so that they can mail to, and we'll get it done that way. I'm working on these things, but these are all technical glitchy things that I didn't see coming, because I'd never done this before. Like I said, I'm not the political guy, and this isn't really politics in my mind. This is just a path to get control of the system, and it's a path that they've left available to us, and I see a way that we can make this work. So I don't really like to call it a political party. It's more about a movement or whatever, but anyway, at the end of the day, we have got to be the ones that take control. We have got to be the ones that restructure, rebuild the system, and we can't leave it in the place of these parasitic classes, because they're not doing anything about it. They're not going to do anything about it. I don't think that there's going to be, we got all this talk about spring election bullshit. See, that's going to happen. I'm pretty sure that they're not going to bother with a spring election. It's actually looking more like the liberal parasites are going to get their majority government, which isn't great. That's not good for us. Obviously, that's not good for us, but it shows you how everything that they do shows you how corrupt the system is. When you got these people that can just cross floors, and these are supposed to be conservatives and liberals are supposed to be at opposite ends of the spectrum, and you can have one cross the floor to another and vice versa and so on, or where they're obviously not at opposite ends of the spectrum on any ideology. They're obviously on the same team. They're obviously all working together. They're obviously all in there for their own benefit. They obviously don't represent you. That's another piece of evidence when I say about they're not there to represent you. They're committed fraud by saying that. This is all evidence that people need to see for what it really is. Don't support the system that, you want, this guy should have to have a by-election or whatever. See it for what it is. That's another red flag to show you all the stuff I'm telling you is true. They don't work for you. The system is against you. So it's not going to be a great thing if the liberals get a majority, whatever. But it is. We can't control certain things. We can't worry about certain things that are out of our control. We have to function around them. We have to make things happen. We have to do things. But start looking at this in a more serious manner. The faster we build something, the faster we can change this stuff. The faster we build something, the faster we can change this stuff. They're not public servants. They present themselves as public servants, but they're not public servants. They're servants to the crown. That's why they swear their oaths to the crown. That is the lie. They tell us they're public servants, but they're not public servants. That is the lie. That is the illusion. Anyway, the faster people start seeing things for what it is, the faster people start recognizing that we've got to change the structure, then the faster we'll be able to build this out, and the faster we'll be able to accomplish what we need to do and stop this tyranny and this bullshit from taking place. Pierre will not be the next snail to slither in there. He's not going to be the prime minister. I highly doubt that's going to happen. So I don't see another election coming in a couple months. Actually, in the next thing, it's already started to happen. I think the NDP is going to be the next floor walker that's going to give the Liberals their majority. And it's already starting to be developed out now with Don Davis and them guys talking about becoming the House Speaker and all this other bullshit. So they all know what was going on. They're all part of that. They all work together. At the end of the day, they all bitch and complain, but none of them really want nothing. They really don't want any change. They just do their roles. They're all roles. That is a theater, and they're acting in roles. There's lead actors in movies. There's supporting actors in movies. That's how this operates. That's what's on. The Conservatives are the supporting cast. Remember, it's His Loyal Majesty's, or it's His Majesty's loyal opposition. If they really... Okay, I'm going to close on this with the Conservatives. As I said before, I'm pretty confident that the Conservative Party purposely threw the last election process. I think what happened, I think that's evident when the vast majority of their candidates didn't take part in debates across the landmass. And when you look at that from the average individual's perspective that doesn't necessarily have the understanding of the structure like some of us do, and they're going there just believing that this was a written election, and they don't see the Conservative candidate there, how in good faith could they be expected to vote for the Conservative candidate? Okay, so that's one thing. Secondary to that, for 2 months at least, we were getting lambasted by rage baiting, hateful rhetoric, and screaming about how horrific this budget is. And I'm not defending the budget, but that's what was taking place. The Conservatives, how horrific this is, how much this is going to cost, blah, 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 all this stuff for 2 months. They also had the opportunity to make sure that the budget didn't pass. That's what happened. They could have made sure that the budget didn't pass. But if they had made sure the budget didn't pass, that would have triggered an election. And they said that the Liberal Party put the budget out there because they wanted to fail, and they wanted an election because they were going to be able to get majority government in a new election. So, let it pass because they didn't want an election. Because they think the Liberal Party wanted an election so they could get a majority government. So now you have the Conservative Party that screams and hollers that they're the ones that are going to save you. They're going to save the people. They're the only ones that you can trust. They're the only ones working for you. But at the same time, they don't have enough confidence in themselves or their own party to run an election against these so-called evil parasites, the Liberals. So they let the budget pass because they didn't have enough confidence in either their leader or their party to run an election, because maybe they thought they would lose more seats and then the Liberals would get a majority. Does that even make sense? Because if they believe their own lies, they would have failed the budget, and then they would have triggered an election, and then they would have run in another election. And it wouldn't have made a bit of a difference anyway. It would have been another $600 million wasted, and you would have got the same result regardless of what did. So, not in the current structure, we can't vote our way out of this, but through this concept, there's a plausible path to success in this concept. If we get to an election process before all the hooks are into us and the people engage and we build this out, then yes, we can. But that's only because this is separate from that structure. This movement is about getting control, giving it back to the people, and restructuring the entire system so it works for us. That's it. That's all. Anyway, like I said, I don't know that we'll get there because I don't know the timeline. I'm not sure we'll have the opportunity, but we have to build this because this is another this is another path that we can educate the masses on a more professional level. The more people are going to be open to hearing the stuff that I talk about and the stuff that we teach about the structure, about the fraud of the structure, and so on and so forth, coming out of this rule. So anyway, that's it. That's all. It's all good. Yeah. I don't know if I'll be back tomorrow night. I got a lot of stuff to try to accomplish tomorrow, and we're in the middle of another big snowfall here. I don't know how bad it's going to be, but I haven't been down for a bit, so I wanted to touch base with you guys and just keep moving forward, man. Just keep moving forward. Don't buy into the bullshit. Don't fall for all the ruses. And for this, when you see a headline, check it out. Do a little bit of digging behind that, because it's not what it's being presented as, guys. Anyway, yeah, that's it. That's all. I appreciate y'all. Anybody that wants to help out, they can reach out to me personally. If has questions, obviously same thing. Reach out to me. I'll help you with the information the most I can. Otherwise, go check it out. Look at the party. Check out the platform. Join up. Start sharing it with your people. Print out some brochures. Start sharing the information. But we'll keep moving forward. We'll keep doing the best we can. I wish I could fix this thing tomorrow. Honest to God, I wish we didn't have to go this path. I'm as frustrated as all of you guys, and I honestly wish there was something I could do myself. The only thing that I know I can control is my own self and my own actions. So if there was something that I could do myself that would flip this switch for you, all of us, in a moment, I would be doing it immediately. But I'm also not going to be a martyr, and I don't think any of us should be martyrs. And I think steps that we take have got to be conscious. We have got to think them through, because they're looking to start putting the hammer down on people. And if we make missteps, that if they take the strength of the movement out, of the people trying to actually create the real change that we need, if the strength of that disappears, we're in big trouble. We're in big trouble. So just be very conscious of the steps that you're taking moving forward. It's time to start being aware. It's not about being afraid. It's not about being a coward. It's about being smart, and it's about being safe. And you're better off to fight tomorrow than disappear today. So anyway, with that, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. We'll chat. Don't hesitate to reach out. Questions, concerns, support, whatever it is. It's all good. I appreciate it. Have a good night, guys.
The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society, and we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweighed the dangers which are cited to justify it. Even today, there is little value in opposing the threat of a closed society, dictating its arbitrary restrictions. Even today, there is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation if our traditions do not survive with it. And there is very grave danger that an announced need for increased security will be seized upon by those anxious to expand its meaning to the very limits of official censorship and concealment. That I do not intend to permit to the extent that it's in my control. And no official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, civilian or military, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed. No president should fear public scrutiny of his program, for from that scrutiny comes understanding, and from that understanding comes support or opposition, and both are necessary. I am not asking your newspapers to support an administration, but I am asking your help in the tremendous task of informing and alerting the American people. For I have complete confidence in the response and dedication of our citizens whenever they are fully informed. I not only could not stifle controversy among your readers, I welcome it. This administration intends to be candid about its errors. For as a wise man once said, an error doesn't become a mistake until you refuse to correct it. We intend to accept full responsibility for our errors, and we expect you to point them out when we miss them. Without debate, without criticism, no administration and no country can succeed, and no republic can survive. That is why the Athenian lawmaker Solon decreed it a crime for any citizen to shrink from controversy. And that is why our press was protected by the First Amendment, the only business in America specifically protected by the Constitution, not primarily to amuse and entertain, not to emphasize the trivial and the sentimental, not to simply give the public what it wants, but to inform, to arouse, to reflect, to state our dangers and our opportunities, to indicate our crises and our choices, to lead, mold, educate, and sometimes even anger public opinion. This means greater coverage and analysis of international news, for it is no longer far away and foreign, but close at hand and local. It means greater attention to improved understanding of the news, as well as improved transmission. And it means, finally, that government at all levels must meet its obligation to provide you with the fullest possible information outside the narrowest limits of national security. And so it is to the printing press, to the recorder of man's deeds, the keeper of his conscience, the courier of his news, that we look for strength and assistance, confident that with your help, man will be what he was born to be, free and independent.